It's Jonathan. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. What I'm going to suggest is, even though Carolina, and I'll introduce her in a moment, has done a great job with the slideshow, I would encourage you to make it half of the screen so you can see everybody else. And then I'm going to suggest that we do a little bit of shaking it out. If anybody knows Amy Cuddy's power pose, we'll get some blood flowing and energy moving. And then, because I need it, and we talked about it this morning, a deep breath. A deep breath tells your brain that you're safe and all is well. And this is the very first time I've presented this talk. So I love speaking in public, but this is something that's near and dear to my heart, because when I was in my 20s, it was when I was first introduced to the concept that you are not your thoughts. Those of you that might know EST, the forum landmark, I did that, and it was a profound experience. And since then, I've been trying to be as aware of my thoughts as possible. And it's one of the things that I want to help you with today. Over that, as a result of taking that, my partners and I went on to create a business that I'll talk about in a minute, but spanned 33 years, multiple locations, thousands of employees, millions of dollars, starting with movie theaters, video stores, film festivals, and film distribution. So it was quite a ride, and it all started from me being aware that I am not my thoughts. So my goal today is that you will walk away with understanding how alignment of all 7 steps is important, getting more aware of your thoughts, and I will convey some useful tools. First, I want to introduce Carolina, my assistant, coming to us from Lithuania, and I'm going to ask Carolina to pronounce her last name because I still can't do it.
Petrauskaitė.
So she has been my guide and my cheerleader. She's amazing, and she did a way better PowerPoint than I could ever hope to. So she's available, not all the time, because she's mine, but if you're looking for this kind of help, I cannot recommend Carolina enough. So when you change your thinking, you change your life. So I'm going to give you my story of how I changed my thinking in addition to my 20s. So some of you may know TLA. We started out as a movie theater and then video stores, and we had a great run. It was truly exciting. Literally thousands of people that worked for us over the years, and met a lot of stars. Not that that makes a difference, but it was fun being in front of film festivals, until it wasn't fun. You may have guessed that video stores have a limited shelf life. So things started to get grim. We were closing video stores. I literally had to lay off hundreds of people. Heartbreaking experience. My business partner was angry and upset, took a lot of his anger out on me. And so luckily, I met a coach who I didn't know was a law of attraction coach, and she helped change my life. She had me write a letter to myself. This was in 2013. She had me write a letter to myself. I met her in April, dated 12/31/13. And in that letter, I wrote that I was going to accomplish financial freedom and abundance. Now, we were valued at 0 in 2012, 0. And as that time went on, we were valued at less than 0. So in August, when we got a phone call from somebody saying, I want to buy the company, everyone in the company said, yeah, right. And I said, yes, right. So I worked with this buyer, and in January of 2014, we sold for millions of dollars. What happened? The only thing that happened was intention and a clear vision for the future. So other things have happened, and at the end, I'll tell you what's happened even since then, because my life continues to just grow and change and improve. So When you change your thinking, you change your life. Since then, I've really been working on these 7 steps. They started as 5, then they became 6, and now they're 7. So let's talk about the 7 steps. The first thing is getting clear on your core values. What do you stand for? What is the most important thing for you? I'm curious if anybody here has done core values exercises, either for themselves or for their team. Getting clear on your core values is a great foundation on which to build everything. The next step is to get your mindset as positive as you can be, because the more positive you are, the bigger you're going to dream. So get your mindset handled. Then, based on your core values and your mindset, then you set goals and create a vision that's got a firm foundation. Of course, once you have your purpose and vision and goals, you need a plan, because wishing and hoping and thinking and praying won't get you into his arms. It's funny, somebody asked me today about The Secret, and I said the thing about The Secret that drives me a little bit nuts is that it excludes step 5, take action. Because you can wish and hope all you want, but you got to get out of bed and you got to do something. And the plan and the action will go back and forth, but you have to take action. Then, as you're on your path, you will inevitably face obstacles, challenges, and blind spots. That's when you need support. Look for your support system. Jonathan was a great support for me today, because having this deadline meant that I got this talk done. So support comes in different ways. Carolina is my rock on this. So support. And then last but not least, you stay the course and be persistent. So these are the 7 steps. I'm going to go into them a little bit deeper. So there's a couple of great quotes on core values, and I'm curious if anybody's done the core values exercise. We've generated one, and then Brene Brown has a great one. I love when you quoted Brene Brown this morning, Laura. I love Brene Brown. So when you work and make your decisions based on your core values, what's important to you, it makes making those decisions easier. So because I'm dieting and I'm using Noom, I was told don't use dieting because you might trigger people, but I'm going to use dieting in this. So when you're using a diet, any kind of diet process, it gives you the values, right? I like Noom because it gives you red, yellow, green. What foods are red, yellow, green? So it's giving you those values. When you're deciding how you're going to spend your money, if you have a core value of thriftiness, you're going to save more money. Working on your core values with your team is particularly important to make sure that everyone on your team is in alignment. So those core values can become the basis on which you hire people, on which you give appraisals. It gives you the compass, the guidance system to make sure that everyone is going in the same place. Are you living up to our core values? I unfortunately had a negative experience with this, that as our business was declining, my partner got us into bed with another company. I didn't know at the time that what was off was our core values, but their core values were not as honest as I thought they should be. And we were working with a film starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They played around with the agreement. We ended up getting sued. We lost the rights to the film. You can check it out, Mysterious Skin. And we lost millions of dollars in potential profit because our core values didn't match that company's core values. So getting your core values in alignment, particularly in your business, is really critical and very important. So Carolina helped me develop a core values exercise and has volunteered to share her core values today. Although I will tell you that her core values also include commitment to excellence, thoughtfulness, and creativity. So the first thing you want to do is you can look at somebody you admire. That's a great way to work on your core values, or you can look at the sheet and think about what your core values are. So write down, maybe you have 10, maybe you have 20, you list them all, and then you group them into similar core values. Then you end up with your final 4, if you're a person, 4 or 5. If you are a company, you might have as many as 8. I have clients that have 8 and 10. Here at Red Trucking, which I'll talk about in a minute, we have 8. So working on your team core values can be very, very helpful. We're going to be giving you an invitation to step up into the email if you're interested, and we will email out the beautiful core values exercise that Carolina put together. So when you do that, you want to define what the core values mean to you. The word is not enough. How are you going to live into this? What will it look like on a day-to-day basis? And then, this is a recurring theme, journal and meditate. You will hear me say journal and meditate a lot. I cannot extol the virtues of journaling and meditating enough. I think that they are 2 of the best things that you can do for yourself. So getting your core values is a critical element. Next is your mindset. So, and you will hear me also bring up Napoleon Hill. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, you will probably read it by the time I'm done, because I will bring it up many, many times. It's absolutely one of my favorite books. And your own mental attitude is for sure your real boss. When you are run by confidence and enthusiasm, you live a very different life than when you're living out of your self-limiting beliefs. Self-limiting are just that. So when you are living in a form of abundance and enthusiasm, you will dream bigger. When we make the unconscious conscious, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our life and we will call it fate. One of my absolute favorite quotes. So how does that unconscious get there? We were talking about it this morning, but I didn't want to bring it up. I think a lot of our unconscious is caused by our life experiences. Before we're 7, we absorb what we're told like sponges. So if you are told that you're attractive, you will tend to feel attractive. If you are told you are dumb or smart, you will think those things. I have 1 or 2 rare exceptions in my life of people who at the age of 5 said, no, I'm not buying it. But most of us buy it. And that becomes our internal operating system. So how do we deal with that? The great thing is that we can retrain our brain. Our brain is a muscle, like any other muscle. By the way, if we were in person, I would be being more interactive. So feel free to put any chats any comments in the chat, because I don't want to be just a talking head, although I'm very passionate about this, if you haven't learned by now. So we can retrain your brain. So how do we do that? The first thing is positive affirmations. Although I want to say something about positive affirmations. You have to believe the positive affirmations and invest some energy and emotion into them. If you say, I'm going to become a millionaire, but you don't believe it and you don't put any emotion into it, you will not actually accomplish it. So when you have those positive affirmations, you need to put some real emotion into them and actually feel them in your heart. So maybe you want to be a millionaire. You can say something like, I'm on my way to being a millionaire. Let's say that you have an opportunity to get a great client and your self-limiting belief pops in. You can say, and we'll get to this in a little bit, I know that I have what it takes to make this client happy and I'm going to go for it. If you think, I don't want to be insecure, or if you think, I don't want to think this thought, I don't want to think about a red rose, what do we think about? A red rose. So creating positive affirmations, and there's a whole exercise that I have about overcoming self-limiting beliefs that I didn't get into for this talk, but there are great exercises for replacing those limiting beliefs with more positive thoughts. So you create positive affirmations. The next thing is, and this is my go-to a lot, is watch, listen, podcasts, talks, events, friends who inspire you. I have woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning so many times with my brain going down that negative vortex. And I swear by Calm Sleep Stories, Insight Timer meditations, Podcasts might be a little too much for me at 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's what I listen to in the car, or when I'm feeling like I don't have what I need for this situation, I'll go to somebody that I have confidence in. So I've put actually a resource page on my website with some of my favorite people. I'd love to know who are your go-tos when you're feeling, yeah, go to Collaberex meetings. Absolutely. Tim did a great job on this morning's meeting. I love the way Tim runs his meeting. And I really credit Jonathan with this whole concept of Collaberex. I think it's really, really wonderful. So, so retraining your brain, meditation and journaling, it's a great way to do it, whether it's a structured journaling. I find asking myself a question and almost having a conversation with myself in writing is incredibly helpful. And journal and meditation is the best way to just shut up and listen to what the universe has to say. And then finally, observe your thoughts and really take time to think, is this a thought that I want to have? So the next thing is setting your goals. Now that you've gotten your thinking positive, oh, sorry, acknowledge and celebrate your wins. Okay, my next exercise. So often we forget to celebrate our wins. I start my coaching conversations with what do you have to celebrate? A couple of my clients say, I knew you were going to ask that. But celebrating the wins is really an important way to get your energy up, bring up your self-confidence, and inspire you. So we've developed an exercise that is a timeline exercise that has you look at what you did, when you did it, how you felt, how you did it, and most importantly, what did you learn from it? We are so quick to look back at our quote unquote mistakes or what we regret and play those over and over and over again in your head. When you look at your accomplishments and celebrate them and say, what did I learn from that accomplishment? It's such a great empowering tool. In the fall, I decided to be more grateful and practice gratitude on a more regular basis. It changed my life. So, Wayne Dyer, I love Wayne Dyer. He's absolutely amazing. And he's a great speaker too. So we set our goals after we get our core values and our mindset. One of my favorite quotes, what we visualize, we materialize. Also, what we think about and think about, we bring about. So getting clear in our head of what we want, especially when it's based on our core values and with a more positive mindset, will really help. When I worked with my coach back in 2013, this was really a critical element of it because I would never come up with this financial freedom and abundance on my own. I needed somebody that would say, yes, this is possible. You are not stuck in this situation forever. There is hope. At one point, I was driving to visit my mother, and my partner called me, and he was very upset about something. And he said, I want you to turn around right now and come back. And I was already 2 hours away from the office. So I did turn around. And as I was driving, I thought, you know what? This is a day. This day will pass. And I will look back on this day and I will laugh. So putting things into perspective is really important. And having a coach that can help you dream bigger is really helpful. And not just me. Get anybody that friends can also help you. So there are great ways to do this. Vision boards can really help you see your goals clearly. What I did a couple of years ago was I actually went to Google Slides and I went onto the web and I took all these pictures. You can do vision boards, but I find that when you're using magazines, it's a little capricious. So I had these very exact things that I wanted. So I went onto the internet and I found images of what I wanted and I created a slideshow that I would look at as I was going to bed. I even found a theme song for my slideshow. So the clearer you can visualize what you want, the more likely you are to create it. So what are the challenges to this? Thinking, right? It's probably one of the hardest things to do. Carolina, because I always ask Carolina what her goals are and what her objectives are, told me that when she first started doing this, she found it very difficult. But the more often she thought about her goals and her dreams, the easier it got. So taking the time. You know, the difficulty in finding the time to do this is so well known. Eisenhower first came up with it in his Matrix and then was made famous by Stephen Covey, right? So when you look at this quadrant and where we spend most of our time, we either spend it frequently in the crisis mode, getting interrupted, or with trivia and busy work. I know I love my little games that I play when I get home from work. However, quadrant 2, the not urgent and important, is really the place where these plans and goals live. This is where you work on your business, not just in your business. This is where you take the time. I'm curious in here, if I were to ask everyone what their goals were for the next 3, 5, 10 years, how many people could answer me? I find so often that when I say, what are your goals? People may have a vague idea, but they don't always have a clear idea. I worked with a team of data scientists, loved them. And I did individual coaching and I said, what are your goals? And 3 of them just looked at me and said, goals? What do you mean? What do you mean goals? I said, well, do you want to get married? Do you want to own a house? Those kind of goals. Oh, I never thought about that. So taking the time to think. So how can you do that? My suggestions are that you time block. You set priorities. Gary Keller in his book, The One Thing, says you should find one priority. That's a little too limiting for me. I need Carolina to bring me back down to reality a lot because I'll have 10 goals going on at any given time. In fact, my to-do list is probably 20 things long, but then I take those and I whittle them down to what do I want to do that day? So setting priorities and then blocking the time. How many people in here time block? I'm really curious. I highly recommend, even if you only time block your important things, I think it's really, really helpful. So now you've got your core values, you've got your mindset, and you've got your goals. Next is a plan. So the thing about a plan is you may have a clear plan, you may have a vague plan. When I had my vision of financial freedom and abundance, all I had was a note to myself. My plan was to read that and to believe in it on a regular basis. That was the only plan I had. When the call came in from the buyer, I said, now I've got a plan. And we worked together to make sure that the buyout happened because my partner was not a fan of this. That's a whole other story. So John Maxwell has written a couple of great books. Well, actually, John Maxwell's written probably about 85 books. I've lost count. But one of them is Put Your Dreams to the Test. And one of my favorite elements of that book is to do one thing every single day that puts you closer to your goal. Now, when you're running a company, you have to do obviously a lot more than one thing to get you closer to your goal. But you do look at strategic planning, right? Because you can get to California. I have a mentor that my guru, and she and her wife spent 2 or 3 months meandering their way across the country from California. That's one way to do it. They weren't in a hurry. But if you want to get to a destination specifically, it's great to have a map. So with your business, what is your map? Where do you want to go? If you want to build out your management team, are you hiring people that have management capabilities? If you want to increase your sales, what are you doing to increase those sales? Really thinking through, and this is the working on your business, not just in your business element, is the critical aspect to get you there on time. So I'm sure everybody here knows a SMART goal, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, timely, measurable, realistic, and timely. So setting those SMART goals, particularly with KPIs, at the end, when we were slowly closing down our business, our KPI was how much money do we owe? Not the best KPI you want to measure, but that was the one that was most important to us. Now, most of my clients, the KPIs that they measure are how much money are they making? What's their profitability? Figuring out what you want to track and measure in your plan is very important. I'm curious how many people do this, regularly sit down and map out where they want to go and how they're going to get there. So now we have a plan. This is where the rubber hits the road. How many great ideas have died in the shower? One of my friends put a whiteboard in the shower for her husband because he would keep having these great ideas in the shower and then step onto the shower map and they disappeared. I just listened to somebody, Lewis Howes. I didn't put him on my resource page, but I love Lewis Howes' podcast. And he was interviewing somebody whose name escapes me, but she put her vision board in the shower. She has a clear shower and she put her vision board. So as she's showering, she's looking at her vision board. So taking action is a critical element. I'm also grateful to Jonathan because one great way to take action is to have a deadline. So yes, I'm a procrastinator. So I was working on this last night till 10:30 and I was up at 6:30 this morning, but the deadline had me take action. So whatever you need to do to take that action will be helpful. In the light of do one thing every day, if you do those tiny gains, so both Darren Hardy in the compound effect and James Clear in Atomic Habits have great demonstrations of how doing one small thing every single day can gain over time and become significant. Now, this is where action and your self-limiting beliefs can sometimes conflict. You may say to yourself, I can't do that. So you have to make sure that you don't stop the action because of those self-limiting beliefs, which leads us to the next step, because your self-limiting beliefs may get in the way. And guess what? Napoleon Hill again. Who would have thunk it, right? So deliberately seeking the company of people who influence you to think and act on building the life you desire. Now, this can be both structured and unstructured. So I have been in and led many masterminds since selling my business. I highly recommend them. Napoleon Hill is a huge advocate of it. He calls it a friendly alliance of one or more people who encourage you to follow through with your plan and purpose. I am a former TAB facilitator. That stands for the Alternative Board. It's similar to Vistage. It brings business owners together in a monthly meeting roundtable to discuss shared issues and challenges. I'm not a TAB facilitator anymore, but I'm in a TAB group. But I wanted something more. So about a year and a half ago, I approached 3 other coaches and suggested that we form our own mastermind. And so for the past year and a half, we've been meeting every other week for an hour and a half. It has been incredibly helpful. So you can create your own mastermind. You can join one. I mean, Collaberex really is a mastermind. And I give Jonathan incredible credit for how these groups are being run, because I do think that there is such a wonderful cooperative component to it that makes it my favorite networking group ever, really ever. So I'm looking at creating a mastermind in the near future. I haven't figured it out, but could happen. So guess what? Napoleon Hill again, winners never quit and quitters never win. So persistence is the key. And Napoleon has a story that I absolutely love, 3 Feet from Gold, which is 2 miners were in California digging for gold. How many people know this story? Anybody? They were digging and digging for several months. They finally gave up and they sold the equipment and the property to the next person behind them in line. That prospector found gold 3 feet from where they gave up. So holding the course, having the confidence, staying true to your course is so important. And again, another one of my favorite Napoleon Hill quotes: most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. I actually don't believe in failure. I believe in learning opportunities. I have a slideshow for another presentation that takes the word mistake and redefines it, because there are learning opportunities in every single experience. As we discussed earlier, I'm hoping you'll learn that use the learning experiences and opportunities from your successes as well as your quote unquote failures, but really having the energy and the enthusiasm to continue is critical. I've been so grateful and lucky since selling my business that I've had great mentors and great opportunities. After we sold the business, I joined an MLM called a multi-level marketing called Silpada, which I was terrible at. I have great jewelry, lots and lots of great jewelry, but I was literally, I sold so little jewelry in this multi-level marketing. However, it brought me back to my roots of personal development. And for that, I'm immensely grateful. It also introduced me to the John Maxwell leadership coaching. So that made me stand on my core values of helping people. I've been helping people since I was in high school, actually elementary school. I was volunteering in church. So helping people is a critical core value of mine. And I thought, don't ask me why, selling Silpada jewelry would be it. It wasn't. But my core value was able to continue with business coaching and leadership coaching. It doesn't stop there though, because in the fall, I completely shook up my networking and I joined Collaberex. And in there, I met Enzo Dinton of Red Trucking. One of the things that I really missed and is a core value for me is teamwork. And I really missed that working alone. So over the course of the last couple of months, Enzo and I have become closer and closer, and I am now a part-time vice president for Red Trucking. It's really my dream job. I am still coaching on the side. I have the best of both worlds. I'm standing on my core values of helping people, making a difference, and I'm doing it in one of the most important areas for me, which is teamwork and working with people to have them live their own best life. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm curious if there are any questions. Let's review one more time. Get your core values. What do you stand for? Then get your mindset to the most positive place it can be. Based on those two things, then you can set your goals and create your vision and purpose on very solid ground. You'll need a plan. So create a plan. The plan could be just put one foot in front of the other till the plan becomes clear. The plan will almost certainly change, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the interplay of action and planning. You can be in action, see that you need to change the plan, or in my case, even the ultimate goal. Then support. And thank you, Jonathan, for providing Collaberex as such an excellent support system. And finally, persistence. Stay the course. You've got it in you. It's possible to accomplish your dreams in a way you never thought possible. Any questions, thoughts? I'd love to hear some success stories or challenges.
So if you have a question, you can either put it in the chat or raise your hand and we'll call on you. And we're going to make sure that we get to everyone. Also, I encourage everyone to put their core values in the chat so we can, see if Claire might be helpful and giving it some clarification. So do we have any questions? I'm typing my core value right now in the
I'd love to know anybody's success stories. Oh, I love that today is J Day. That's awesome. Now that's confidence.
Always talk.
Should I not?
No, you can talk. Let someone else talk
Okay.
first.
So I'd like to make a comment. One of the things that you talk about is at near the end is persistence. So you could do all these things, but you have to take kind of one step at a time. Can everyone please mute? So yeah, and there's an agenda that we've done on grit, which is passion and perseverance over long periods of time, and our success stories are not going to go viral in a minute. It's a marathon, so it's going to take time. So sometimes we don't think of our success stories as success stories because we think of all the work we've put into it. And it seems like we're still marching up the mountain.
That's where
Claire-
celebrating the wins is so helpful.
Yeah. Yes. So I was going to say that. So who wants to talk about some of those wins that we've had that you've celebrated and they are our success stories? Jennifer, please.
Well, I would just share that, and hang on one second, I'm gonna shut a door so it gets quieter, hang on. Sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to say that I have a document in my computer that lists all of the schools and businesses that I've worked with. And so when I'm feeling like a little bit down about things getting slow, I always turn to that document and look at the places where I have made an impact and been able to do what I love to do. And that definitely that definitely inspires me and uplifts me. So I'm just sharing that. I loved your presentation. It was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
So I have a poll question for, I'm not going to do an official poll on Zoom, but how many people here, when you speak to people and they say, how are you doing? How's your business going? They say to you, things seem to be going great. Look at that, all you've done. And you think internally, really, it's like watching paint dry. It's like such a long process. Raise your hand if that's kind of the thought process that you go through in your practice.
Awesome. Eileen and Ted have their hand raised.
Right. I did.
Oh, you did?
No, not for the question. I wanted to share a overall success story. Claire, your presentation was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
Ted
you.
and I were smiling through the whole thing because we were fortunate enough about 3 years ago to take a master class with a gentleman we know very well who taught the Napoleon Hill book. And we went through the entire book chapter by chapter over 10, 12 weeks with a group of executives. And it literally changed our life. And I have to say, and I thank you again for reiterating it today, because for all of you who are listening, Ted and I were struggling a bit with our business several years ago. And we could not figure out why we sort of had gone into this slump. And after going through the masterclass and learning the Napoleon Hill way and the law of attraction and all of that, we got up one day and we said, all right, that's it. No more negativity, no more woe is me, no more, well, we didn't get this client, we didn't get that client. And we literally just started being positive, even when we were struggling a little. And within a couple of months, and I don't know why, but we are firm believers that positive energy totally turned everything around. And that aside, we joined Collaberex a year and a half ago, which was amazing. And
Thank you, Arnie.
Thank you, Warnie. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you,
And-
Tim, and whoever else is on there, facilitators and all the people we've met. It's been
Fabulous.
a huge positive journey. So
And I think the thing that Napoleon Hill basically said through this gentleman, Tommy Hilkin, was to figure out what you want. Because one of the first questions we ask our clients is what we want.
they want.
And if we're able to evaluate this, we're able to possibly figure out if we can give it to them. Otherwise, we know it's not a good match. However, if we can give them the solution to what they want, we have a client, at least for the first year, 2, 3, we have clients for now 15 years. So figure out what you want, then go get it. Set your goals.
Yeah. So, Jen Manderville, I love your core values. I mean, if you put this on the wall and look at it and use it as your North Star, it makes all the actions that you take, all the decisions that you're going to make easier. You
Yes,
follow this.
yes, yes. It's been a great blueprint because initially I did not form core values for myself personally. And I thought, you know what, you do this with your business. You set your mission, you know what your values are. And it's been a real shift for me because I look at everything based on my core values. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah. And also Liz Stern. I mean, the values that you provide your clients, I don't know. I would switch it around a little. I think I'd put kindness first. It's so, it's so ingrained in everything you do. In
Like-
you as a person.
I didn't put them in order of
Okay.
where you start. But yes, it's really important. Thank you.
And if you, as use that, I said, as your North Star, and it really helps fashion your decisions. Darcy, I'd like to you were talking about, what was it in Tuesday mornings group? Exactly what Eileen was saying about, not everyone's gonna like you, and this is the values you're presenting, and people, it's not for everyone, and stop with this, woe is me attitude. And it's an exact reflection of what Eileen said.
So, yeah, I mean, my big story, some of you know, some of you don't, is that I built a really successful company. I've been in business for 26 years, and I started in 1997, and like 5 years later, I was between 1 and 2 million in revenues a year, and I stayed there for a long time. And then the financial industry crashed, and all my clients were in that industry. So I had like 50 clients in different parts of the industry. No one would have thought that the whole industry would get wiped out. So I thought I was safe. And then for 2 years, I just kept going down until I was 375,000 in revenues, had to fire half my team, had to haggle with the landlord, had to fight with debtors and credit card companies, you name it. So what's the point? The point is, I had a choice at that point. I could be all woe is me. I could be like, oh, this sucks. Like, why me? I can't do this. But in order to turn that around, which I made the decision to do, I had to be positive, whether I felt it or not. And I had to fake it till I made it. And I had to just say, I can do this. I will do this. I'm going to resolve this issue with American Express. I will talk to the landlord. Like, did I want to do that? No, I wanted to eat all kinds of crap and sugar and hide in bed and like say, F this, I can't do this. I'm taking a corporate job. Like, that's what I really wanted. I would dig a hole and stick my head in it. But where was that really going to get me? So to Claire's point, positivity and endurance and perseverance, like that's that grit. That's what business owners have. We all have it. Hope to God you never have to tap it to that degree, because I'm still not back to 1 million in revenue all these years later. I mean, I'm doing well, but I'm not there. I'm not like, that was just gravy and it was easy and life was good. So if you don't have grit, when you hit these very hard kind of walls that aren't going to move, it's very hard to get over them. So I hear what Claire's saying about positivity and perseverance and all of that. Like, you have to have that. You have to believe in yourself, whether you do or not. You got to believe in, you got to fake it until it's real and just keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward. So these vision boards and goals and things, like whatever way it works for you, I didn't do any of those things. I'm not a vision board girl. But I set my goals and I said, by next year, I'm going to be at 500,000 again. You know what I mean? Like I had to crawl out of the hole and I had to have a goal to crawl to. So I think everything, whatever works for you out of what Claire said is, and maybe you do all of it, maybe you do some of it, but it can be done. If you set a goal and you have that grit, it can happen. And it wasn't easy, but it happened. So,
Thank you.
just pray to God that never happens to any of you, because it was absolutely brutal. But, you can do it if you have your attitude in the right place and your goals set in front of you.
Thank you. So we have a question from Elvira.
Yeah, it's not a question. I just wanted to say to Darcy how you said you have no vision board, but you have a goal. It's just a different name. That's all. We see in pictures. Whatever goal you had, you saw it in pictures. That is the vision board. It's just a different name. That's all. Thank you. It's great stuff, Claire.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Claire, I think it's so important in defining, after you define your core values, and I would like if you can kind of express how you do this with your clients, you have to get them to define the behaviors that reflect those values.
Exactly. And so when you look at, that's why looking at people that you respect is a really great way, or the things that you've done that you respect, and you can see the common threads, right? There's collaboration, there's strength, there's knowledge, authenticity, integrity, I see coming up over and over and over again. So when you look at how do you want to behave, and I'm lucky to have, between Red Trucking and my clients, I love the core values of every single one of my clients, because they are based on integrity, taking care of their people, taking care of their customers, providing their best services. It's phenomenal. Tim, did you have your hand raised on purpose?
Yes, Tim.
Yes, thank you. I think I'm off mute. Yeah, a couple of things. Claire, first of all, great presentation. I love the way that, you tied together all of these concepts that I think a lot of us probably know, but into a format and a structure that floats so smoothly, whether it was Stephen Covey or Rhonda Byrne or Maxwell or Napoleon Hill or Wayne Dyer. Really, really good. The other thing I wanted to say relative to accomplishments is that and successes, I've noticed listening to all of us over the years that we all tend to think, at least I do, that things that I've accomplished, are not that big a deal. When we ask for accomplishments, and they really, really are. I'm gonna pick on Karen because she was with us this morning, but she had a client that she was really needing to get to. It was, Karen is in the bakery business, if you guys don't know it. And so we had this long discussion at the meeting about tactics for getting to this client. And she did it. She went there and visited this what do you call it, Karen? A co-packer. And it was really successful. I mean, they had a great visit and she met all these people and they led her around the plant. And so she's on to the next thing. So she's totally forgot about that. But it's one of those things that, is a huge, big deal. And, I think if we could celebrate the little successes, as Claire pointed out, they lead to bigger things. And so there's no success that's too small, I guess is my message. Thank you.
Thanks. Enzo.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I was fortunate enough to be part of Collaberex, and I think I know Claire a little bit nowadays, a little bit more than I did at the beginning. Collaberex is amazing, getting to meet so many wonderful people. I was fortunate enough to connect very well with Claire. When it comes to core values, I don't know how many people here have actually employees. So the core values have also goes on both ends, whether it be as you as your company or as Claire and I have worked on what do we want from our core values as a structure for our employees. How do we want them to act? How do we expect them to be part of our family? One of the main things that's always worked for us is just being open and honest. getting to know your employees and things like that. I have over 30 now, and it's pretty crazy. A lot of different wonderful personalities, and then you have the other style of personalities that not so wonderful, but you learn to work with them. So the core values does work on both ends as your business grows. And Claire and I work very close together now, and I've done wonderful things in such little time, and I could see so much more going on. So Claire, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader of everything you did today. And I have to also thank Tim for also his group, because that's one of the reasons why we also met as well. And I do know Karen, and I do know Darcy very well, and I love you girls and I miss you and everybody else that I was part of my group. Yeah, core values is a big deal, and it will definitely guide you in so many ways. And I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Helen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Actually, a couple things Enzo said, I was going to say as well, but I think in dealing with, other folks that I partner up with to get projects done, or even my clients, it's just really important to not only have those for myself, but be able to look for those qualities of the values in other people, because it just makes for a better working relationship, that if we're all approaching everything from the same perspective. So I think it goes for both, like I said, whether it's a vendor, a business relationship, or a client relationship, it really makes a big difference.
Helen, I thought you said something in the chat that is very important. You said you put your core values right on your website.
Mhm.
If there are things that you're going to stand by, tell people that you're going to stand by them. This is what you believe in. You're announcing to the world that these are the things, this is how they will be treated. And that way, you're telling the world, you're holding yourself accountable to do the things that you thought you wanted to do. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, and it also, to the point I just was saying, I think it puts everybody on notice as well, that that's the relationship I intend to have with you, and I intend it to be reciprocated to me. So.
Right. I think that's also a great thing to do if you have if you've defined your goals for, whatever, for the next year, the next 3 years. Tell the people that you're close to, form an advisory board, have a mastermind group, tell your friends, tell as many people as by expressing it out loud, you're committing to it. You're committing it. You're telling the world, these are the things I'm going to do. And then you better go do them, because people will, so how are you doing on that? So make it so, Claire did this. I approached Claire, will you do this? And she committed to it. And then it's there. It's on her calendar. She has to go, follow through on it. Do we have one of the other things that were in chat? I wanted to call on David Quick. David, you've thought about this. So I love that it's so detailed, and that here you're announcing all these things, and these are things that actually can be a competitive advantage for you.
Indeed.
Yeah. These are things that I can help you make every business decision and help you guide all your interactions with your clients. So, do we have any success stories? Any other? I'm looking through the chat here. Let's see. Is Andy still here? I like what he put down: partnership, knowledge, strength, stability.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I think that's great. I mean, that's how you view your relationship with your clients, really, as a partnership.
Right.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So, I named my company Avalon Quality Partners so that I would become a partner with them. Originally, through my background in manufacturing, engineering, and quality, but the quality piece means a lot more. It means, the quality of your planning, the quality of your business, the quality of the people. So that's the integrity piece. Also, my logo, which I have up, is a representation of the island of Avalon, which is a mythical island off the coast of Wales, which my family has traced its origin back to Wales. So I'm pulling family values and family history in as well. The legend of Avalon is where King Arthur's sword was forged. And, he pulled the sword out of the rock at a young age. So that signifies the strength. It was also an island where he was exiled after his last battle. So, as I've been downsized through my corporate career twice, sometimes you feel like you're, in exile, or sometimes small business owners feel like they're out on an island. So again, that pulls in that partnership piece. But Avalon translates in Welsh to island of apples. Apples, of course, represents knowledge in a biblical sense, but also a sustainable or stable food source for those that are on exile on that island. So I pulled all that together into my core values, the partnership, the strength, the knowledge being the apple, and the stability, and designed my logo around that and named my company after that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So it's 1 o'clock, it's 1:02 now. And Carolina put in the chat that, so everyone, you could save the chat if you'd like to receive a lot of the worksheets discussed that Claire presented and information about other upcoming masterminds. There's a link there, and also to have, if you want a complimentary consultation with Claire, which I wholeheartedly recommend. Talk to her, get to know her. It's incredible the values that she could provide for your organization. If anyone wants to hang out for a few more minutes, they want to continue this conversation. Claire said she would stay for a couple more minutes, and I'm here. But everyone, thank you so much, Claire, for just an amazing presentation. So appreciated.
Thank you for coming, everyone. It was great.
Yes.
And it's over.
Yes, you did it. Great job. Really great job. I can't believe it's the first time you did this presentation. It doesn't seem that way. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Claire. Well done.
Thank you.
Claire.
Thank you.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
later.
It was fabulous. Really one of the
Thanks, guys.
best.
Thank you.
So Claire, great comments in the chat.
Whew,
I've saved it. Yeah.
thanks.
Hi, Sabine, you're muted. Are you talking to us?
No, she's talking to somebody else there.
Okay. Wait. It's not Sabine, it's Doctor, right?
I think so.
Yes. So
Jeff, did you want to say something earlier? I saw you unmute.
Jonathan, I wanted to ask you, I'm on my phone and I can't save the chat. Could somebody
I'll s-
just forward it to me?
I will.
Claire, you did an amazing job.
Thanks,
It
Bonnie.
was really wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All
Okay.
the things I've always believed and never really put into words. So you did a great job.
Thanks.
Yes. That's what smart people do. They articulate your thoughts. And you think, I've always been trying to figure out how to say that. So thank you, Claire.
Yep. Jeff?
Jeff, do you have any questions for Claire?
Just interested in knowing how you become a client, I guess, or my organization could use some counseling. How does that happen?
Schedule it. Carolina put a link. Let's have a conversation. And Jonathan is sending me all the contact information, so I'll reach out to you and we'll schedule some time. I always try to give value in the conversations that I have. So yeah, let's chat.
Good.
Okay.
I find a lot of the stories that people bring to these meetings very similar, almost like parts of a puzzle. And then I see all these little puzzle
piece faces on the screen. That's how I relate to these groupings, you know. Because I really feel that we don't have anything too much on everything that I see people saying is very much in common with each other. Okay, which is, I think, very instructive. I don't think people realize how similar the issues and responsibilities lie, regardless of their business, you know. And so I come to these things pretty much as a listener and an observer. And I just thought I'd give you that feedback because that's essentially what you do, okay, is you use a mirror approach to mirror back to people their strengths rather than their weaknesses so they can work around the blocks in their lives in order to achieve greater success, however they describe that success to be. And I thank you for that. And I thank you and all the people that work in the self-improvement industry for those values, those core values that I've been aware of for so long. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Jeff. So glad
Thanks,
you could
Jeff.
join us. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enzo, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
we're all fans of you, you know, so, you know.
Thank you very much for everything you've done too. Thanks for all the emails and I appreciate it and all inviting me still on certain things. I'll get back on everything sooner or later. She knows how busy I am, trust me.
She's nodding her head. Yes, yes. No, I know, but it's
All
great
right.
to see you.
Have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Yes.
you.
Claire, great job. Carolina, great job.
Yeah.
So I'll send you, I'll stop the recording now and I will send it to you.